On May 28th, it will be an all Madrid Maxwell on match day, so you can look forward to that. Real Madrid get the job done, 1-0 against Manchester City. Now, usually Maxwell in match day fashion, I like to break it down a little humorously and let you guys come away from that dreaded highlights search. I know, oh, that's not the highlights. That's not the highlights. Oh, what's this Scottish twat doing? Well, I'm here to break the game down for you in a different way that you don't expect, because you will go to mainstream and they'll talk about how Manchester City were just outclassed by Real Madrid. And Real Madrid were a better team, but they were outcoached and their depth proved to be sufficient. Manchester City's depth proved to shoot them in the foot. They lose David Silva. And I tweeted out last week, and I talked on every platform that would hear my stupid accent say, Yaya Toure coming back into this team will be detrimental to Manchester City's chances. Why? Because Fernando and Fernandinho finally formed somewhat of a partnership. Their chemistry went from John Terry and Wayne Bridge to Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes. Somewhat. Let's not go that far, but you get the drift. And then what happens when you bring Yaya Toure in? Is Yaya Toure's not an attacking midfielder? Yaya Toure is, I wonder wherever the hell I want to go, attacking midfielder. So what happens is you start to see him drift, wandering deep, trying to pick up the ball. Then Fernandinho gets a little bit, at least alive. Oh, I'm going to go and support Kevin De Bruyne's attack. Or Fernando, I'm going to go and support the ball into Jesus Navas' feet, when he doesn't need to do that. Both of their roles are to simply be the patrolman. They have to be the protection. They have to be the strongest condoms they can find in front of that back line. But instead, they've got holes pierced in them now because Yaya Toure's wandering into their territory, giving them the freedom to feel like they can wander up the park, and that structure is not as stable. Is that the only reason Manchester City lost? No, but it is one of the main reasons. And Pellegrini needs to understand, well, he doesn't need to understand anymore because he's therefore redundant. Pep Guardiola coming in will make changes. You will see the likes of a bid for Paul Pogba to come in and fill that void to play alongside De Bruyne, because De Bruyne suffered. He was shite today. Aguero was dropping into his own box to try and pick up the ball because they had no flow in that final third. They had no David Silva to help utilise De Bruyne. De Bruyne's energy was used in areas that didn't have to be used, chasing the ball down, trying to press because they weren't pressing as a team. And Real Madrid just picked them apart. Toni Kroos had a cigar in one hand and had a German cocktail on the other hand, whatever German cocktail you might think. What is it? Well, it's not German. I was going to say a Moscow Mule. It's Russian, obviously. Anyway, he was just cruising. Modric was cruising. They found Bale's feet many a times. And I was surprised it only ended 1-0 because it could have been 2 or 3. So talking about Gareth Bale's goal, similar fashion, Fernando caught a little too higher up than you'd expect, struggled to get back. Gareth Bale makes a great dynamic run in behind, and his shot's deflected as Fernando's not on him the way you would expect him to do, and his shot takes a deflection, and it goes in, and it's given as a Fernando own goal. And then, from then on, Real Madrid never looked under pressure. You may think that's drastic. Aguero's shot with like 5-10 minutes left may have dipped in, and it would have been an absolute unjust result, by the way, at that point, because Real Madrid controlled the game. But his shot was over, but that's where they're limited to, taking shots from 20 yards deep, trying anything they could to try and find that final product. The other reason is that tactics can't differ between is someone who's willing to take someone on. Gareth Bale, I thought, was great today, taking people on. I thought that actually Manchester City's best player was probably Otamendi, making last-ditch tackles, but he was forced to make them because Bale would take on Sagna and beat him one-on-one. He would take on Fernando and beat him one-on-one, and it would pose the question. That's what football is about. It's all about a game of posing questions to each other. It's not rocket science. If someone breaks that bank of 4 or that bank of 2 that's his protection, then the other guy's going to have to step out from his comfort zone. Otamendi's going to have to step out. Mangala doesn't need a second invitation to step out of position, but he'll go and do it anyway. So it's that ability to break the structure that makes football the sport it is. Messi loves to break structures. He doesn't just beat people because he wants to make fun of them. He breaks the structure so that other people will find space. It's a game, it's the butterfly effect of football. It's a trickle-on effect. It's any other fancy term you want to put into it. And people try to overcomplicate things and break it down bit by bit, grain by grain. No, it's as simple as if you take someone on, if you've got the balls to do it, and you can cause a problem, then you will find gaps in the opposition half. Raheem Sterling doesn't have the ability to take on Carvajal. Carvajal had him in his back pocket. Carvajal has most people in his back pocket. Very impressed with him. But Ramos is by no means a stable enough defender to get off as scot-free as he did today. No pun intended, because he's not Scottish. He just got off not having to make those rash tackles that Barcelona posed him to do. Even Wolfsburg posed him to make those tackles. But Manchester City today just didn't want to pose that question to him. Aguero would rather drop deep than try and take it into feet and take on one-on-one. And that's frustrating today because it wasn't an adequate enough test to Real Madrid in order to prove that they deserve to make it to the Champions League final. But you can only play who is in front of you. So Real Madrid deserve to go through in this game. And they deserve to meet Atletico Madrid in a team that will not allow Ramos to go untested, or Real Madrid's, I would say, quest to go forward as much as they can. Because you better believe Atletico Madrid will turn that minor mishap into your own weakness quicker than you can shave the side of your head, like Kim Jong-un mentioning Ramos, what is going on with that band. So it is going to pose for a mouthwatering Champions League final. We've seen it a couple of years back. Now we're going to see it again. Will Atletico Madrid right the wrongs? They were seconds away, moments away from winning the Champions League final. Off went Diego Costa, and then things just went to shit. It was that man with the dodgy haircut. He didn't have it back then, Sergio Ramos, who would eventually send it into extra time before Bale and Ronaldo added the final nails in Diego Simeone's coffin. That must have been a sore one to take, but he's going to try and bounce back. So there's a breakdown. No categories today because I thought I'd make it a little bit more tactical, a little bit more structured. And again, show me the link to where you're going to get this any different, because I would like to see it. Hit me in the comment section below. Add Francis_Maxwell on Twitter, at Francis Maxwell Host on Instagram, at TYT Sports on Twitter, and TYT Sports on Facebook. Got plenty of good stuff over there. Speak to you soon.